Well, it's just over an hour and a half now till Jim Chalmers delivers his third budget. Now, dozens of journalists are stuck in the budget lockup as we speak with no access to the outside world, poring over those budget documents. I'm lucky. I'm out here. I'm free. Tim Blair is one of them who's in there. But I caught up with him before he went in to see what he'll be keeping an eye out for.
Well, for a start, you look for confirmation of what we already have been fed. That it actually does match the pre-publicity, if you like, and then you look for mistakes. Oftentimes there are a few. Smarter people than I, who are gifted with numbers, often pull up a few errors in various estimates and costings and so on. As well, we have specialists who are able to double check, for example, whether something's been announced which has previously been announced or was previously involved in earlier budgets. So there's all those sort of things, plus the overall theme of it, if it's a big spendy budget, which it will be because it's Labor, and various notions like that. It's it's a range of options. It's a bit of a pizza shop.
Yeah, there is a famous political adage, of course, that nothing's ever announced until it's been announced at least 13 times. So it'd be good to check in for some of that double counting. There is so much theatre, increasingly, I think, so much public relations and theatre when it comes to budgets. And one of them, of course, is when the Treasurer supposedly hands over the budget to the Prime Minister, the standard sort of budget eve picture opportunity. I had a look at this last night on Paul Murray Live. It's worth showing again the awkward, lame comments as that happened yesterday. Have a look.
It's a great budget. Provides cost of living support whilst also having that eye on the economy of the future.
And a great budget for women. All those decisions we took on women's safety, housing, the care economy, all these really important ones around driving economic equality for women.
Yeah. No, I think we should be really proud of it. It's ambitious, but it's responsible at the same time. It's got a lot of help for a lot of people, but also some investment in the future. And so, I think the whole team can be really proud of it.
Decisions we make today can set us up for the next decade and beyond.
Oh, it's just terrific stuff, isn't it, Tim? I mean, the Treasurer says the budget that he's delivering is something we all should be very proud of. The self-praise is no praise at all.
Absolutely. There's two kind of levels of awkward happening there, isn't it? Like if you've ever arrived half an hour early for a real estate viewing and there's a few other people there and you stand around trying to make the world's most awkward small talk. And secondly, it's always fun watching Labor people talk how devoted they are to, being very serious about keeping the numbers down and being responsible economic managers. Just as awkward are coalition members when they try to indicate how devoted they are to keeping ABC spending up and doing all the lovely stuff. Equally twisted and concerning for all involved.
Now, when this interview goes to air, Tim, you'll be still in the lockup working feverishly with other journalists. Tell us about the vibe in the lockup, because there's a lot of journalists, there's politicians, of course, and political advisors. There's even industry lobby groups and special interest groups and the like, all milling around with free food and lollies and the like, but all trying to focus on the cost of living.
Yeah, it's a bit different these days because we're all sort of segmented, a lot of us. For example, I'm at the lockup at News Corporation headquarters in Sydney, whereas we all used to be, pre-COVID and so on, we all used to be in the same sort of pool in Canberra with people from other newspapers, which, looking back, was kind of the fun of it because, you'd finally get to meet some of the people you'd been trashing all year. Like you'd be walking around like you're talking about, getting some sandwiches or some food from, used to be a big long hallway in Parliament House, and you'd feel these beams of hate drilling into the back of your head, and you'd turn around and say, "Oh, hello, Fairfax friend. Put down that machete." It was always a bit tense for a few people, but that I think made it. And there's less, I guess, outside of Canberra. There's less involvement with politicians dropping by. There's a lot of open lines and there's a lot of direct internet connections these days with Parliament House that allow you to get feedback and so on, and some sort of expertise if things need explaining or in more detail. So there's still some connection, but it's not the old-fashioned human hatred kind.
Yeah, I used to enjoy the News Corp meat pies and odds and sods. I used to think the Fairfax spread looked a bit veganish to me. Now, the good news, though, is it's 7 hours. It's the only 7-hour block of the year where most of the political journalists are off the streets and off the airwaves, so I suppose the country can get on with normal life for a while.
Yeah, just watch that crime rate plummet. It's 7 hours of glory for the rest of humankind in Australia.
Well, great stuff. Thanks for joining us, Tim, and happy hunting in there.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, Tim Blair in there doing the hard yards for all of us.